showing everyone our new pod studio. The pod studio was actually created out of a need from our original room, the pod, which is just straight audio. So learning how to use the audio equipment to produce podcasting to upload to places like SoundCloud. From that, we came up with a need to add an additional editing suite, or actually podcasting suite. And this podcasting suite is a lot different. It has much more capabilities, and it's here for the community. You can see we've got some members behind us, and they've come here to take a look at the pod studio, and actually some of them have already been through the training. So without further ado, let's go on inside and we'll take a look at the pod studio. Come on in. So, welcome everybody. We're here at DATV's new pod studio. And again, as I mentioned earlier during the introduction, it's a lot more flexible than our original pod room. This room actually has 3 separate components to it. And the first component is we have a brand new Rodecaster Pro. And if I can get Bobby maybe to come over here and take a shot of this thing. Come on behind me, Bobby. Bobby is my camera operator for this event. And it's a very easy to use audio mixer. And what you can do with this is not only, pot up or bring up your mics, you can, and I'm going to put a headphone on here, but you have other capabilities along with it. And those are, you can add sound effects. And you can actually create your own sound effects. You can create your own audio introduction or whatever you need to do and bring them into the Rodecaster Pro. The other cool thing is that if you just want to record your audio, you can just hit the record button, interview your folks that have come in to be part of your podcast, and at the very end, you hit stop, and then you transfer the audio to your hard drive. And it's all very easy. I'm going to shut this window down. It's very easy to do, and that's what we try to concentrate on here at DATV when we have things like this. Now, what we're going to be doing throughout the night is we're going to be interviewing some folks who have gone through the training and are actually using this already. Again, the first component is the audio portion. We, again, have a Rodecaster Pro. We will be putting this device in the original pod room because it is so flexible and powerful. The other cool thing is, what I really like is a lot of people are always trying to come up with ways to interview people from different places. Whether it's down the street or if they are in Turkey, all they have to do is plug up their cell phone, and I'll show you later on how we do that. But you can plug up your cell phone and interview people just by calling them. They can call you, and now they become part of the program. And again, that is the first portion of what this room can do. Next is the ability to not only do audio, but you can do video as well. And you can probably see, if Bobby swings around up there, you can see that we have cameras in here. And you can control the cameras. We actually have somebody sitting at the switcher. And Bobby, swing around there and get a shot of Eric. Eric is the director of this event tonight, and all that equipment might look intimidating, but you don't need any of that to do your podcast. You can actually control everything from the computer that I'm currently sitting at. And honestly, I guess we have Eric to thank for this room, because Eric was the one really pushing for a second podcasting room because of the need that came out of the first one. The original pod gets used a lot. He felt like we needed another room for people to do podcasting, so we came up with the idea of putting together not only a standard pod room, but to do video as well. So let me show you the video portion, and this is pretty cool. So again, you were watching Eric do all the work over there, and that can look a little intimidating at first, but it's not. We don't even need Eric over there. We can turn off those monitors and toss Eric out of here if we want, because I have the ability to come over here and open up the exact same software that Eric is using. So, and from here, we're able to switch cameras. If I do this, and I can sit here and switch back and forth between cameras as a host. So I have my microphones potted up, and I can talk to Tom or Mary or Bill or Sue or whoever we want to interview, and switch between the cameras as we go from a question I might ask to their response to that question. And so what we're able to do is we're able to then record that completed video on the table across from me, and you can record on a little flash drive. And that's all you need. You can get a 16 gigabyte flash drive, and you can record for a few hours on that. And that's part two. So again, part one was the audio portion of this room. Part two was integrating the video portion to that. And the third part, and this is very interesting, and again, I can switch between cameras if I want to, and Eric's got control over it right now. But the third part of this room is now integrating and sending the audio and video to Facebook. You know, and that's a big thing. You can send it to Facebook, or you can send it to YouTube, or whatever media outlet that you want, social media outlet that you would like to. And it's very easy to do that. All we have to do is we open up a browser, and we go to Facebook. And I'm not going to show you everything about it, but it's as simple as opening up Facebook, signing in with your credentials, and then going to the live button that is part of your, not timeline, but part of your page. When you do that, it will actually open up a window that's ready for you to stream, and it will provide you with a key. All we need to do is copy that key and put it in the key window that is on our software on the screen. As soon as we do that, it's ready to go. We hit on air, and then we tell Facebook to go ahead and go live. And it is so simple, and that's why this room was created, to give people the ability to easily stream to Facebook, other social media outlets, and whatnot. And that's the big thing about DATV. We try to make it easy for people to get their message out to the masses. You know, you don't have to have a lot of whiz-bang equipment or flying logos or any of that stuff. It's about the message and how easy it is to get that message out. Now, Dale Grow is our volunteer coordinator, and he's actually going to be bringing in some folks, and he's going to sit down with me, and we're going to talk to some folks who have gone through the training, and I'm putting up their mics. That's all I'm doing is putting up their mics. And we've got Daryl Bohannon with us here. He does Harper's Bizarro World.
Been here for 20 years.
What mic are you on there, Daryl?
3. Hello.
Okay, and there he goes. So, and hey, Eric, I'm taking control, man. So,
Did you put that lens
and I've got control over it right now. And this is all I'm doing. It's as easy as this. We're streaming live to Facebook. We're using this mixer. It's no big deal. It's easy to use. And I'm punching between the cameras. So I'm going to let Eric go ahead and adjust that camera real quick. And now I'm going to go to Daryl live. So Daryl, don't look at that. You're not supposed to be looking at that.
Where's my filter?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they make one like that. But anyway,
yes.
you know, we want to talk to Daryl and ask him, because Daryl went through the training, and Daryl's been doing shows here for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And to go from a 40 by 50 foot studio, and you use it very well, and you've been using it for a long time, what does this bring to your programming and, you know, how to get your message out to everybody?
Well, it's very intimate, and it takes it to a whole new level. I mean, the fact that we're using Facebook Live, I mean, it's so immediate. And people get to see the process up close and personal. I love that.
Yeah, and like I said, our main mission here is to give the community as much access to all these outlets, not just television, but to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitter, to all these different places, because the more places that you can get your message out to the community, I think we're better off as a society. Because,
definitely.
The mainstream media doesn't really want to hear from the little guy that much. We do, because guess what? We know as much about what's going on in the world, and we have an opinion, and we have a right to get on, on TV and these social media outlets and say it.
Exactly.
So you went through the training. What did you think? Is this hard to do?
It wasn't that it was hard. I'm so used to being in front of the camera, and it kind of well, actually, this is my third appearance on a podcast, because I did one yesterday and I did one last week. And it reminded me of the episode of the Brady Bunch when Cindy, she was on television.
Oh, yeah.
And she had television-itis.
Yeah.
I had to take myself out of that zone of being in front of the camera, even though I was in front of the camera, and concentrate on the buttons.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why we try to limit it as much as we possibly can. Oh, yeah, I got to do this. I keep forgetting. We want to limit this as much as we can, take out the technical fear, And so, again, all I'm doing is pushing a button and punching you up and then going back to us.
Hello?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really about making it as simple to operate as we possibly can.
And I totally felt that.
Yeah.
What kind of feedback did you get from your first webcast? Because I believe you had our executive director, Rosemary Bradley.
Oh, yeah,
on
I
the
forgot
program.
about that.
I'm still getting a lot of healthy feedback. It's very positive. I thought it was so immediate. It was a little overwhelming, but in a good way. And I'm totally into this. I am on board.
But you did that to Facebook too, right?
Exactly.
So you did it to Facebook right after you basically took the workshop. I didn't even realize you were interviewing our executive director.
Exactly. I mean, I've always done improv and spur of the moment things, and I thought one of the best things about the training down here is that, well, it's hands-on, but the best way to have it stay in your memory is to just get out there and do it and try it, and that's what I did. So I waited a couple of days, and here we are again.
And plus, not only did you stream it live on Facebook, you recorded it so that you could play it back on your weekly program,
Exactly.
seen on DATV,
Exactly.
from this room
Oh.
that airs. I think it airs this Saturday night, or did it air last Saturday night?
Last Saturday night.
Last Saturday night at 9:00. So this is basically a miniature television studio in addition to a pod studio.
I love that.
And absolutely. And I guess I didn't even realize that you had taken this portion and integrated it into your show. And that's the thing, that's the other thing. And this actually helps out DATV because the pod, the original pod is just audio. So from a programming standpoint, DATV never really got anything out of that to put on the channels. Now, we would try to promote everybody's podcasts because those are important. But to have something that's played back on the channel, it didn't really work out with the pod itself. This does, because now there's a video element that's added to it. And so we like that. And, maybe people will feel a little unfiltered in here because it's a smaller, more quaint,
Less overwhelming.
Yeah, and dare I say cozy, but it is. Maybe people will feel a little more apt to, tell everybody what's on their minds. They can have just a regular conversation, and it's so easy.
Well, I felt very Howard Stern during the first podcast. So it was intimate, but we were there. We were getting the juices going, and I am definitely on board.
So how long was the workshop that you took?
Oh, I think it was about an hour or 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, and, that really kind of, deviates from our traditional training of the various workshops where some of them can go 2 hours, 3 hours. This room itself is so easy, just by the fact that you're just pushing up these sliders and hitting record and having a conversation.
Exactly.
That's one thing. And again, if you want to do your video, you just put a recorder over there on your little flash drive, via your flash drive, and now you can sit here and again switch between the cameras, and now you're introducing something else.
Exactly.
And then when you feel comfortable, you jumped in with both feet. You went right to Facebook. There was no playing around. You did it. And we were actually very proud of that.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So you see this being used a lot more then?
Oh
for
yeah,
you, for your
I
show?
even want to have a card game in here. Like Uno or.
Oh, cool.
I think that'd be really
We're
cool.
going to play bingo here in the pod studio.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what we're doing is I'm kind of fighting with Eric a little bit on the keyboards, and I'm glad because it's easy to get lost. And if Bobby swings around, it's easy to get lost in the discussion. And what you see on your screen right now, I see the exact same thing. That monitor with all those little pictures in it, that's actually in front of me.
Very cool.
So I can see that and tell who's on. And Bobby's going to show a picture of that. I don't know
Who's
what's
on
gonna happen.
first?
Yeah. Something might blow up when he shoots that. No, we're good. So there's Bobby doing that. And that's what I'm looking at right now. And the cool thing is I can see at the bottom part of that screen, if you could go back to that shot again, Bobby, the bottom part of that, zoom in a little bit, will you please? The red on air tells me that we're streaming. The record button tells me the light is we're recording. And to the far right tells us that we have audio. I didn't do anything. All I did was pop things up and hit go. So when do you think you're going to come back in here and do another show?
Like next week.
Oh, really?
I want this. I would like for this to be a weekly thing.
Well, that's very good. Just remember that you have your, there are some limits here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the room to do all the stuff that you typically do in your program. So we offer, the 40 by 50 foot studio. And then we also have editing suites and those types of things.
But that's what I love about this place. It's a healthy buffet, not like the kind you can't eat anymore. But
Right.
you can come down and eat all of these treasures here. You can do a podcast. You can go in the studio and film a show. I just did a whole Zoom. I filmed the whole show in Zoom like 2 weeks ago. So we have it all.
Well, we're going to let Daryl get out of here because there's some other folks that we need to talk to who have actually gone through the training and are actually using this. And
can I have my filter next time?
yeah. I'm sure that's gonna that's gonna be an expensive filter. I'm gonna have to go to the dark web for that.
I'm going to hang with Steve for a minute, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
get your
Thank
headphones
you.
off and beat it.
Send Jackie and Lynn in here for
I
us.
will. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And while Jackie and Lynn are coming in here, and we're going to call her Una, I wanted to talk to you a minute about the workshops and how to become a DATV member. So it's a good thing we have my good friend here, Dale Groh. He is the volunteer coordinator, and he's the person who organizes the workshops. But workshops in podcasting, the history of podcasting, how to do it, where to upload your podcast to, those are all done by a gentleman named Tony Peters. And he works at WSWO 97.3. It's the community radio station
My
in
other
Huber
boss.
Heights. And Dale is a DJ there. He is Mr. Big, and he's on Tuesday nights, so be listening for that. But, why don't you talk a little bit about how people become members?
Well, what's beautiful about becoming a member at DATV, the first thing I've realized is when people come in, some of them don't have the experience to produce a television program, but within just a few weeks, they're doing it. It's a $50 membership. That's good good up to the end of the year. And it's a membership. You don't have to pay per class. You don't have to pay per podcast or per broadcast or anything like that.
Don't tell Jackie and Una that. I told them something different.
Oh, man.
But the cool thing is, hey, strap those headphones on.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, as Dale was talking about, it's $50 a year. But when you rejoin in December, it's $35 a year.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about us making any money. We just want to make sure that we recoup our costs for you giving us a headache.
And it's an opportunity for you to get out what you think is important to you.
Yes.
So whether it's a Bible study or whatever you want to broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's very affordable. But the biggest thing is that exactly what Dale said. It's about what you want to say to the community. Now, we have Jackie and we have Lynn that also goes by Una. And they just went through my workshop the other day.
Number 2.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, forgot number 2. They just went through the workshop the other day, and I think that they were excited. What did you ladies, how did you feel about that?
Well, first of all, Steve sucks at teaching class.
Oh, no.
Payback is beautiful.
Oh,
isn't
see,
it?
and that's what you get. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. No, it was very interesting, and I had a lot of fun.
I had fun too.
Yeah, and I think we're very interested. I'm very interested because we actually did like mini shows during your workshop and had great discussion, and that's what it's really about. This is just a tool for talking.
It felt really natural.
It did.
Like we actually were running a show.
Right?
Yes.
And it's not like you
Yeah.
got these cameras. The cameras aren't in your face, and which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we need that stuff out there. It's all about, getting the message out any way that you possibly can. I hear somebody is ringing. You got to turn.
That's the first rule of television. You turn
let's
off
just,
your phone.
we're going to show her doing that. Kill that. Don't be taking that phone call. Slide that thing to, there you go. All right.
And you've done a couple of shows since then in this podcast room since you took the class, haven't you?
Yeah, I came back the next night. Yeah, I brought my granddaughter.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I didn't actually
You came in and got acclimated to it a little
exactly.
bit
I
more.
wanted to learn a little bit more and feel comfortable. With the whole process of podcasting. It's new for me. So
What did you talk about?
Actually, I interviewed my 13-year-old granddaughter, and we talked about the COVID virus and
Oh.
how it affected her, and being out of school early and doing all her classes online. And she shared, her thoughts, and also her brother, who's 7 years old, he actually got COVID.
Wow.
And so he's doing a lot. He's doing good. He was asymptomatic, and so he's out of the quarantine and everything. But it just goes to show that it affects all different ages. And I wanted to get her point of view how this pandemic has affected her.
And you know what's interesting about that, and I'm glad you did that, because you talked about a 13-year-old and a 7-year-old, but, a young person, 12, 13, 14 years old, they can have access to this equipment too as long as they're with the parent.
Right.
And guess what? They have a lot to say.
Yes.
And we tend to too often turn our backs on those young folks and dismiss what they're talking about.
Yes.
But you know what? They're very in tune to things nowadays, especially like you were talking about that little guy who got COVID. I mean, that's heavy right there.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I got the word that his mom told me that he had been tested positive for it. So
what other kinds of shows do you folks? You guys came in together, and we just had, in my opinion, stellar conversation. I thought it was great. To me, it was a lot of fun. We aired grievances and what's going on in today's society, and that's what it's really about. Because we need to hear from the regular folks, because we're the ones living it.
yes, I agree.
These other folks who are living, in Hollywood and Washington, they're not really living. They're not living the life that we're living. So, but what kinds of shows, do you guys want to get into? Do you know?
Just community things, topics that people are talking about, relationships.
No male bashing shows.
Intimate stuff.
Yeah.
Intimate girl stuff.
Oh boy. Yeah.
It's a male bashing show.
Yeah, that's a male bashing show. Very good. Thank you, Dale. As she laid me out when she got in here.
No, we won't be doing that.
We won't be
No,
doing
but
that.
you know what? But those things are important, you know. And guess what? Not everything that we need to talk about is puppy dogs and ice cream. Some things are hard hitting
Yes,
and
and hard to talk about.
But you got to talk about those things, because you can't go through. We can't go through life just kind of pretending that everything's all right with them. I mean, we don't know what other people are thinking unless they're willing to share it, and that the other person is willing to hear it.
Right. Well, our show that we're creating, we want people, especially women, to know that they're not alone. We share similar situations. It may not be the same, but we want to reach out to those that they're not alone in whatever discussion that we have.
Well,
And,
I want to thank you guys for coming in and talking about taking the workshop and the things that you want to do. And I was very inspired when you said you interviewed your granddaughter. Again, kids have a right to come in here and use this facility as long as they're with their parent or their adult. And because what they have to say is very important. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you folks go ahead and head
He's
on out.
kicking you out. In other
Yeah.
words.
Hey, we've got network time to hit here. You got to get out.
Thank you.
We
very
gotta hit our
much.
break.
Thank you
Hey,
so much.
thanks for coming in. We appreciate you
Thank you.
guys. So,
Bye-bye.
all right. So, and we're going to wait for, who else do we have here, Dale?
I believe this is
Otis.
it.
No, we got Otis.
Is Otis here?
Otis is here.
Otis?
But I wanted to talk a little bit more, if I can. We talked about a little bit about how to become a member, and it's really about utilizing your community television station. Come on in
Come
here
on
and
in.
have a seat.
Thank you, Otis.
DATV started in 1978. And since that time, what is that, 42 years?
42 years.
Go ahead and strap on your headphones. And, you know, we have trained thousands of people, and even more so, you in the community have produced thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of community programming. That's programming that's important to you. It's programming that's important to the community. And programming, as I said, would never get any time anywhere else but a center like
It's
this.
the original social media.
Oh, good one. Yeah, this is the original soapbox. We are the electronic soapbox. That's what we are. But we have Otis Lewis, right?
Yes.
And Otis has not only been through the class, but he's been in here ripping through some shows, right?
Yes, I have since.
Here, come over to your microphone. There you
Since
go.
November, my bad.
No, that's all right. But tell us what kind of stuff you're doing.
Well, what I do is I've always, since I've come back to Christ is what we call it, and I've always had a fascination with eschatology, the study of end times. And so what I started producing, what I believe that the Lord put on me to say as far as the Bible is concerned, is that, end time events, Bible truths and prophecies. So the name of the show is Revealed Bible Truths and Prophecies. And what we do is bring the truth back into the Bible. Like some of the things that are like, common sense as far as, I don't know how too many people will notice, like at the transfiguration of Christ, when he transfigured. If there was a Trinity, how come Moses and Elijah appeared with him instead of the other two persons of the Trinity? Or Jesus sat at the right hand of God. So if he sat at the right hand of God, then who is he?
You know what? That's very interesting to have a conversation about that and to share it with the community. My question is, so you went through this training in this room.
Yes.
Did you go through the training in the original pod?
Yes, I did that as well.
And so, and like I said, that'll get easier because we're going to put a new Roadcaster Pro in there. But what was the training like? I mean, was it easy for you to pick up, do you think?
Yeah, it was pretty. I was pretty much doing some of this stuff at home, and so I kind of knew some of the things, just a small amount of it. So I really wasn't like the Roadcaster and things like that. I really wasn't familiar with that. But as far as podcasting, I was familiar with it. So coming in doing this, it was kind of, it built upon what I already knew. Put it like that.
So do you think that you'll be bringing in guests, or did you have a guest when you came in here? It was just single.
My co-host,
Oh, okay.
Jamel Stevens, and he co-hosts with me.
Good.
And
Now,
he-
how
and
long
he
is
came
that?
through the class also.
Yes, he came to the class as well.
How long is that program?
As far as the
What's your podcast?
it's usually like 30 minutes. I try to keep it
Okay.
sometimes in between 30, like at least 30 minutes.
So hopefully you're going to be coming back real soon and doing more of it.
Oh, yes, indeed. I plan on a lot of it.
Good.
Got to get my money's worth.
Yeah. and if you don't, just feel free to take it out on Dale.
Oh, I will.
Yeah. But, so, yeah, I know that Dale has been teaching some classes. Eric has been teaching classes. I've kind of jumped in there and done some too. I find it very exciting that we can bring this to you and that you have, the opportunity to share your message beyond just television to all the social media outlets.
Yes, that's what I'm looking forward to. Just, all the social media outlets where I don't actually have to hold the camera myself.
Right.
Okay. Well, what I want to do is we're going to wrap up, and we appreciate you coming in, and we
Well, thank you.
appreciate the programming for the channel, but we appreciate even more the fact that you are getting your message out to the masses.
Right.
That's what public access TV, we call it community TV as well. That's what our basis for being in existence is all about. And there's many access centers throughout the country. We're not faring as well as we used to because of technology, but we embrace the technology. We embrace your social media platforms and all those places so you can get your message out to as many as possible.
Yes.
So
And
go ahead.
No, that's it.
can I say one little small
You
thing? If
absolutely
people,
can.
People want to hear it, they can go to Revealed End Time Ministries on
Okay.
Facebook, as well as YouTube. It's the same, Revealed End Time Ministries, and you can like us, subscribe, and share.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, so what we're going to do as we wrap up here, I'm going to show you how easy it is to sign up.
And I'm going to step out.
Yeah, and you're going to take Otis with you and Bobby with you.
That's right.
So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you. This is how easy or how hard it is. Now, what I have done here is, we'll let them clear out a little bit. I have my cell phone hooked up, and I told you about this at the beginning of the program, but it's hooked up to the Roadcaster. And once you hook it up and you hook it into the audio out of your phone, whether it's an Android or whether it's an Apple phone, you can call the number, and I'm going to call DATV and just sign up. Hopefully this will work out good. I've got the phone turned up. I think you can hear it ringing.
DATV, can I help you?
Hey, it's Steve Ross. I was calling to find out if the Pod Studio was available next Friday from 1 to 3 p.m.
Let me check.
Okay.
Yes, it is. I'll sign you up. Remember, when you come in, fill out a pod request form.
Okay, very good. Hey, and I appreciate it. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. And, you know, that kind of gives you an example of not only how easy it is to sign up, and you will have to fill out and I've got it here, but I think maybe it got feet, but there's a podcasting request form. And that just helps us. You have to fill out this form, tell us what you're doing, and we just hold on to that, and it helps us keep accurate records of who's doing what in the facility. But it's as easy as that. That was very easy, and not only that, but you could hear the clarity of the phone call. But there's other workshops you can sign up for, and there's other rooms here. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 6 editing computers that you can edit your video programs on. We have a 40 by 50 foot studio. We have the original pod room for podcasting, and now we have the new Pod Studio. And we're going to go ahead and close up here, and with that, I'm going to tell you that DATV's Pod Studio is now on the air. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.